said since this morning. And we have John Mapes with us this afternoon. As soon as he gets all of his IT stuff
I think you're going to have to go behind the rod.
Okay, you guys all got printouts?
Yes, sir. And Leslie had another commitment, but she is, as soon as she finishes with that, she's going to join us.
Okay. Okay. What we've got here is your first column is your prior year, 2019, and we had valuation of $52,600,000, a mill rate of 98.6, and in the current year, this is our budget for our current year. We had valuation of $64,100,000 and a rate of 87.6, and then the next is for 2021. Valuation dropped down about $900,000, and we're looking. I mean, once I put all the budgets in, due to the carryover that we've got in the general fund, we're looking pretty good.
Good.
We're at 81.459 there. If you went all the way to your tax lid, we'd be at almost 91 mils. So we're about 600,000 under the tax lid.
Good.
So, yeah, definitely different than it was a few years ago.
And we're glad of it.
Yeah.
We appreciate your help getting us there.
So, well, you want to start on general fund?
Sure.
Okay. First page is the revenue sides. The local sales tax, I hope that's low. You can see we brought in almost $273,000 in 19, and I'm sure we're going to be lower than that, but I've got it in there at about 144. So, and I think that was an estimate from someplace. The other thing that I've dropped down considerably is the interest, and we were up at $93,000 of interest income. We had budgeted 27 for this year. Probably might be just a little on the conservative side, but I don't think we'll get anywhere near that next year. As low as these interest rates, I only got 10,000 in it. So that was two things. One item that did jump quite a little bit was in the sheriff's. He had in his budget revenue items, and I think two different cities that he was going to have contracts for, amounting to $117,000. So I've got that in as revenue.
Yeah, and that's an agreement between the city of St. Francis and Cody and then him, us, and the Bird City.
Yeah, I was going to say Bird City we've been doing, I think St. Francis.
Right, they're new. They dissolved their police department, and Cody kind of absorbed the duties there.
Okay. Okay, the next page is the kind of an overview of the expenditures by department, but if we go to 7B, that's where the detail is. And then it looks like the appraiser about an $1,800 increase there. And it's in the salaries.
And she's had a tough time keeping employees. She's looking to hire right now, so.
That's an area that's in demand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ambulance, that's a little increase, and that's in the salary line also. The
What
election,
happens if we have to buy an ambulance down the road? Is that out from under the lid?
no.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And, well, it'd be hard. Maybe it is. Let me look here.
But that'd be kind of like sheriff's department or?
Well, yeah, of course, you'd think that the court system would be considered part of the law enforcement too, but it's not. Emergency medical services, so that would be, so therefore, yeah, I think if you had to, it would be.
And it'd be pretty hard to budget a new ambulance, the cost of those anymore. If we did have to buy one down the road.
Yeah, I don't have any idea. I haven't seen one in a while, but probably at least 200,000.
Oh,
Let's say
yeah.
that last one was 180, I believe.
Yeah.
They bought.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure we're starting to show some age on some of them.
One of them, 7B, is starting to get a lot of miles.
But they were talking.
you're putting 55,000 a year in equipment reserve, so it's going to take 4 to 5 years because you're going to have other equipment too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking if they did replace it, they'd replace it with a smaller one. where
Transport
it'd be
type
quite-
van. Yeah, I do remember that conversation.
because those big ones are pretty expensive to transport in.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that.
So if you buy it out of the equipment reserve, it wouldn't affect the tax lid. But let's say that you used all your equipment reserve and we had to budget some more to buy it on top of the equipment reserve, then that would be outside the lid. So, okay. And what I've done is we've got included in here the maximum transfers that's allowable. I have a sheet here and for you to. Okay, election. Looks like just a little increase in the salaries. County commissioners, it's the same. Clerk, just a little bit of an increase in the commodities. County treasurer, little increase in the salaries and the equipment transfer. Well, but I guess capital outlays are decreased too, so. The attorney requested the same. Register deeds, about a $1,400 increase there, and looks like a little bit in the capital outlay, but most of it's in the salary line. Sheriff. Not a whole lot of increase there. Now, am I missing something? For him to be taking over the cities,
That's what that money is.
huh?
They're paying money for that.
Yeah, that's the 107,000. But do I need to add that 107,000 on top of his regular budget?
probably, so I'll have to get with him.
I think that
See how
makes
he
sense
wants
to me, but
Okay, that's what I
this
was
is our
kinda
first
wondering.
stab at it. We've never done
Yeah,
this
I've never
before.
done that before.
Normally, when I see you taking over something like that, I see, here's the revenue coming in, but
So we
also
need
I
to
see
add-
that budget going way back up.
Okay,
for
we
the
need to
expense.
add that revenue into his budget then? Is that what
I
you're
think
saying?
we need to.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll get with him and see where he wants.
Okay.
What line item he
Yeah,
wants put.
because I'm sure that's not
Well,
all.
why don't
That'd go in the same line item as like Bird Cities, wouldn't it?
Well, he's gonna have to have it, some personnel and some equipment, that type of stuff. We gotta see how much he wants
much
in
he
each
needs.
line item.
Well, to me, it makes sense to put that 107,000 included with his budget, because if we don't, we're gonna have to look for the damn thing every time we wanna.
Yeah, that's, I didn't want to run him short.
This is a new one, so I
Yeah,
didn't know we needed to include that. so.
And I think 38,000 of that was Bird City, which we'd already been doing. Okay. And 83,000 is the new money for, so let me add another 83,000 into his expenditures.
Okay.
And then you'll have to let me know how you want that allocated. So that's going to bring him up to 591,000.
So does he put that in contractual?
That's where I stuck it for right now. I think surely some of that will have to go to the salaries.
5 what?
I put it in,
591.
591,442. Okay, thank you. Dispatching, little increase in the salaries. Jail care, dropped down the juveniles by 5,000, and so it's 5,000 less than last year for total.
Okay.
That juveniles, will go along several years and nothing, and then get slammed.
All it takes is 2 of them and they can wreck your budget.
Yeah, just one, record budget. Okay, judicial, they dropped it $5. Clerk of the court, same. Buildings and grounds, looks like just a little bit of increase in the commodities and then increase in salaries. Grant administration, I just put it in there the same. Do we need that there?
Jill just wrote a grant and got paid, so we need some money in there, yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know, sometime if we need, we could cut that probably a little bit, but
Was it like 6,000, was it?
I forget what we paid her, but
600.
600.
3%, 6,
Yeah.
Okay.
600 or something like that.
Probably.
So leave it the way it is?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
leave
let's
that
just
one.
leave it unless we need money somewhere, then we can change it.
Emergency preparedness, it looks like 1,500 for capital outlay, a little bit more for commodities, 5,000 less on contractual, and a little salary increase. So overall, less than 2,000 increase there. Solid waste, little salary increase, little decrease in contractual, and increase in equipment reserve. Home for the aged, that's 6 mills. We always keep that right at 6 mills. Courthouse general, you left that the same. Computers, I left that the same.
Most every department head, when they came in and we're discussing budgets, try to keep it as close to what you have. If you're getting along all right, I mean, we're not going to take it away from you, but we'd like to see you stay pretty close. And they obviously did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I had, I had two counties that were pretty tough this year. Both of them heavy in oil and lost half their oil valuation, which in one of the counties meant I lost close to 30% of total valuation.
Yeah.
That county, 1st of October, is cutting elected officials' salaries 5%, and they're going to a 36-hour week on all the other employees. So 10% cut.
We tried to kind of, when they submitted their budgets, we asked for one that was realistic and close, and then one with a 10% cut, just to kind of give them an idea of what it would mean to them if we have to go that direction. And I think it kind of woke them up a little bit. And I think they're appreciative of what they got.
Yeah. Okay, and employee benefits, Social Security, I kicked at 1.8%. It looks like we're setting good there anyway. Health insurance, I kicked at 5% over last year, and we're setting. But that's one that can jump really fast.
Yeah.
Retirement, I kicked at 1.8% again. Life insurance, I had the same. Workman's comp, that was like 70,000 something in 18. What we did that year is we paid it in the beginning of the year and then paid it again right at the end of the year. So we didn't have any for 2019.
Doubled it up.
But that should be close. Unemployment, looks like we should be all right there. And then you had some miscellaneous costs that you paid this last year, so I put $2,000 in there for next year.
Good.
Okay, other recycling, left it the same, 36.
Is that going to change any now when we?
Probably will for next year for sure. We've been in a partnership with Rollins and Decatur County in our recycling. Well, Decatur County now wants out, so we're trying to figure out how we're going to split the equipment that we own and how to go forward from here. And it's going to be different. I don't know how we're going to do it for sure, but
Well, we were talking about switching it over and bringing Ray in and bringing it over and basically going down 36 instead of going back out 70.
so for now though, I think that we'll just leave it just like it is.
Until you get a
Yeah,
plan
because it will
put
be over
together.
to the year anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You think 36 would be enough then?
Yeah, for now, let's leave it till we can hear some actual costs of.
Okay.
Yeah, let's leave it.
Repayment on fees paid or received, it looks to me like we're plenty high there.
Yeah,
You want to leave it for a cushion or reduce it?
yeah, let's do
Okay.
it.
Other expenses, once again, looks like we're adequate. I did the same. Northwest Regional Recycling, used the same. It looks like we're adequate there. RC&D, I put in the same. RODS payments, I used the same. That's probably, if anything, that'll be tapering off a little each year, I think, so we should be all right there. Okay. Health Department contractual, I used the same, which is what we've been paying. Health Officer, the same, and that's what we've been paying. Autopsy expense, I used the same. Services for the elderly, Bird City, I used the same. St. Francis, same. And area agency, or council on aging, used the same. Airport appropriation, I used the same. The Northwest Kansas Juvenile Services, I left that the same. Northwest Environmental Protection, I left that the same, but do we need to bump that up? We spent $4,800 there in 2019. Do we
See
need to
that
take
now.
that maybe to 5,000?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Fair, left that the same. Historical, left the same. Mental health, mental retardation, left that the same. Conservation district, the same. Child advocacy, the same. Domestic violence, same. Planning commission, I left that the same. Economic development, left the same. Land and sky, scenic byway. I see we didn't spend any, but I left it the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just getting started too. This is the first time we've included them in the
Well, we
budget.
missed them on the first go-around. I forgot to tell Dolores about it, so I think it went out on the second round with the 10% that's sent out in July. So.
And then under capital projects, do I need to even have airport in there anymore? That project's done, isn't it?
Well, they've always seemed like they got projects going, but they've always found ways to cover the cost.
That reserve CO, well, the state asks us for capital outlay, but in reality, that's our carryover. That's our cushion. That's,
And I like the looks of it.
that's a cushion we got in there. Okay, right now, we're sitting then at 82.871 mils, so we're still under, and we're about 514,000 under the tax levy. So,
Good.
okay, road and bridge. What, they raised their budget $5?
Probably.
Looks like some increase in salary, and a little bit in commodities, and then adjustments in the special, or in the transfers, I guess. The special road improvement is the same, and then to the machinery, a little increase there. Okay, noxious weed. Looks like same budget, but a little increase in the salaries, and I guess a little decrease in the commodities and the contractual services. And then I adjusted to get us at the 1.5 million, and the 1.5 million is what we need in order to be able to sell our chemicals at whatever we want. Mm-hmm. If we get below 1.5 million, we've got to sell them at 3/4 of cost. So we want to be sure and levy 1 million.
Why is that?
State law, I don't know why. Seems ridiculous, but.
It does seem a little weird.
Okay, hospital, 6 mils. And Public Building Commission for your home and assisted living, 6 mils.
Okay, and I think Eddie has some questions about that.
Well, I do, I try to follow that and keep track of it, but I've got this document from the treasurer's office a couple of days ago, and it doesn't show any distributions for this year. Now, she has emailed these amounts to me at these different dates, but when you get a report from her office, this stuff should be on there, I think. And that shows
there's been this amount put in that fund. Now, that's a lot more than we had last year. Is that on target, or is that a mistake?
Oh, I would say, no, it looks like on target. 'Cause
Good.
last year we had, we've actually got projected for this year to 402,000.
Okay, that
And
scared me. I thought
at this
something not
point, we should have all of our ad valorem taxes in, but we'll have motor vehicle, small amounts
yeah.
coming in.
See,
balancing.
last year was 334,000, and so
Yep,
that
yep,
just made me
yep.
wonder.
Well, and as the valuation goes up, we're keeping it right at that 6 mils, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what jumped her.
And then I've got a question here. That was from December 31st of 19. I don't know where this credit came from. This number is correct here, but I don't know where that's transferred from. I don't know why that amount is in there.
Well, I think we've been setting some money aside,
Okay. And it comes into this bond
now
payment?
that the project was done, then the excess money then come back into here.
And that can be utilized for,
Payment of the debt.
but that's all.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'm seeing is our 6 mils is a lot higher than what it's going to take.
Now,
So we're going to be accumulating some funds in there. And I don't think we can use it for anything other than paying that.
For now, as long as the valuations drop.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is when valuation drops, but.
But
yeah,
I just wasn't aware that that
number. 250,000 a year or something like that?
yes, 249,800.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yes.
So we're
these-
bringing in, 400,000 and only paying out 250. So it's going to keep growing on that part.
Yeah.
But there again, the catch is it can only be used for the loan repayment.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it'll be handy as could be a couple of years from now when
I
Oh,
suppose
yeah.
once we get enough there that we see that it'll pay it off, and I don't know if we have the option of paying early.
We do.
And that, well, at that point, I guess you look and say, okay, we got this, I don't know, 500,000 or whatever we get it built up to, and what are we getting on CDs? Can we make more money than what we're paying? And you know,
See,
hopefully.
we're paying 275.
Yeah, but that's an awful good rate, but how soon these CD rates come back? But anyway, then at that point, you just have to say, okay, there's no need for a future levy. We're going to stop the levy. Do we just leave the money and let it pay out over the years, or do we pay it off?
So I realize that that's building a cushion there, but that 212,000 I thought was higher than what I thought it would
Yeah.
be. But I understand that's all it can be used for,
Yeah.
and that we're pushing a little ahead all
Yeah.
the time. So, all right, very good. And now, see, we used to be at 6 mil equivalent was going through 001300. And they've combined that into just 225 now, Fund 225, is that correct?
I'm not following you there.
Well, there was two different ones. There was two different funds there when they were building. And when they get them building up, I believe it was combined into one fund.
Well, I think that's right, because we had, I think that's where that 200 and some thousand come from, was we eliminated. We had two funds. I think we had a construction fund, and then we had the debt service fund. And so the construction should be, and now what we have is just debt service, and then we have in the general fund, we have another 6 mils that had for operations.
So there was no choice, that 200 had to go in the bond payment? Or
Yep.
could have it came into this one?
No.
It had to go into the
No,
bond
it had to
payment.
go into the bond, because
Okay.
your debt service would have said any excess that's left has to go towards the
Okay,
the
very
debt
good.
payment. So,
So I can still request money for operations and up to a 6 mil equivalent for operation.
yes.
Thank you, man.
And they're, like this last year, on the operating part, we're going to put 24,000 aside in a separate fund. So if the 6 meals in any particular year doesn't come up with enough for the operating, they can move that back and pay it.
And will that 24 be a set number each year?
No, it's just, that will be, where that 24 is coming up is, okay, here's the 6 meals. This is what it actually cost us. The difference will be set aside each year. So that we're setting aside the money for the full 6 meals.
So there should be some set aside
Yep.
each year.
And that's going into capital improvement, correct?
Yeah,
Capital.
and it's going into capital improvement. It needs to be used for that, or if it needs to be used for operating, then we just have to bring it back to the general fund
Okay.
and pay it out of there.
Thank you for verifying that.
Okay. Then the rest of these are non-levy funds, spatial alcohol, that's just, we're getting about $4,500 from the state and carryover money that's being budgeted. Spatial rec, same situation there, that's state money. What those two are is liquor by the drink, and they charge 10% tax on liquor by the drink, goes to the state. State keeps a quarter of that amount, or 2.5%, and then 7.5% goes back to either city or county.
But there's some restrictions on how we can
Yes,
spend that.
there sure is, yeah. And the reason you're getting more alcohol money is statute says if any city under 6,000, your share of the money goes to the county. So on the alcohol, we're getting city and county money, whereas the special parks is strictly county money. So,
Okay.
but the alcohol in particular is very restrictive as to what you can use.
I knew it was. We kind of bolstered some of our fair activities last year with some of that money, and I remember doing the research on it. It's pretty restricted.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, the next is E911. We're getting about 50,000 a year. That's our phone tax that's coming back to us, and we've got carryover, so I'm just budgeting to spend that.
Okay.
And you're fortunate. I've got some counties that's spending better. Seems like all the counties are just getting about 50,000, and some are spending 60, 70,000. Just a matter of time. They're going to have to start supplementing that out of the general fund. Okay, Prairie Dog, some collections and carryover money that I budgeted there. And then the next one is the noxious weed deficiency, or noxious weed capital outlay. For some reason, there's 2 capital outlay funds. One of them's health, which you don't have, and the noxious weed that are required to be budgeted. All the other capital outlay funds are not budgeted. But so that's just, we're budgeting our carryover there. So, and then the last was the fire district. And on the fire district, there was a grant in that last year for 5,000 matching funds. They took that out, lowered the amount they wanted by 5,000, and so then I worked it up to the maximum under the tax lid for them, and That's gonna raise their levy just a hair due to the drop in valuation. But,
Okay.
one thing on the fire, maximum on the fire is 5 mils. We've got a tax lid that we calculate, but unlike the county, the fire, all we gotta do is you guys say, we wanna go with something above where we're at, up to the 5 mils, and we adopt a resolution. So,
Well, I think they're operating pretty well right now.
so, yeah, they, right down below it there, once we transfer that 135,000, they're gonna have about 363,000 in reserves, so I think they're doing
Yeah.
all right, so.
I think overall, the whole county, all the department heads need to be a little pat on the back, and
Doing a good job.
Okay, well, we're at 82.871.
that sounds about right.
Want me to get the publication ready for it? At that?
So, do we need to go clear up to the tax lid and put that extra money somewhere? Or?
That's up to you guys.
I mean, we're still under the tax lid, correct?
Yeah, we're 500,000 under the tax lid.
So,
I think we ought to, while the grass is green, we ought to be putting it up.
Okay, I could go into the general fund and that multi-year capital outlay. Why don't I just add another, and that's our cushion, add another 500,000 to that, so 772. See what that does to me,
Because with the uncertainty of the times we're living in today, it's just going to be amplified next year when you start looking at tax losses and
well, you know, they came close to a new tax lid this last year, and that tax lid, while it was easier to get around, except for the clerk, all the work that they'd have to do, where you have to notify every taxpayer in the county and tell them what effect it's going to have. But you don't have to go to vote. Right now, if we need to go over the lid, we can't.
yeah, we have to do it.
Because we've got to do a vote, and by the time we have an election, we're too late.
I had a visit with our local state senator, and they're working hard to make that thing more.
But there was no increases in it. There was no exemptions and no increases, not even an inflationary increase. So it was a pretty solid lid from being the lid.
Yeah.
To give you an out that was not as harsh.
Well, it hasn't been as encumbering as we thought it was going to be. I mean, we looked at that tax lid when it first came in, like, oh,
Yeah,
geez.
I know. There was a couple of years I was really sweating.
Yeah.
I think the thing that saved us is property values going up, ag values going up, which is bad for the farmers.
But we've been a little more careful now. We've been spending this budget too.
I mean, I wish we had more gas and oil in our county, but we're probably lucky we didn't do all this.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the drop in valuation, that 900,000, that's that oil
Okay.
and gas.
Okay. That'll put us 90.996 mils.
You guys were all right with that, putting that 500,000 extra in there.
I think we should, yeah.
I do too, because
One thing, we could publish it that way, and then if you guys change your mind, when we get to the hearing and go to adopt it, you can lower anything, but you cannot increase it.
okay, that'll give us time to
Yeah.
visit with Leslie.
And looking at the hearing, August 31st at 9 o'clock. Sound good?
Is this thing like with the road and bridges, did we have a lot of damage that it's gonna affect? any-
Yeah, and I don't know, we're supposed to get him and I completely forgot.
I
so-
did too, until I walked out the
And he
door.
wasn't able to come back, so, I don't know, he wanted to talk to you guys about that.
Would you get FEMA money on that?
That's what I'm wondering, I mean, I think that's what happened the last time.
Yeah. Usually if it's very substantial, it seems like FEMA.
It'd be a long time before we'll find out about that, I bet.
Well, I think that's the or the reason he's not in such a hurry. He doesn't have any idea yet exactly what the cost of damages are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know there's a lot of damage, but I didn't know how much, because it was only, what, 2 weeks ago? So it probably takes quite a while to figure it out,
Yeah.
but I figured that's gonna be pretty expensive.
Today.
But did you lose any bridges or, yeah?
Lost. Oh,
At
really?
least 3 is what
At
he
least
had
3,
on his
wow.
map, so.
You know, they don't come real.
Yeah, that'll take a while just to get engineering
Well, you'll have
estimates.
to get Penco up here to do the study and see the,
It took a person in an airplane to find one of the culverts.
yeah, we're dry as a bone here in town, but just a few miles north, they had
5 inches
virtual
of rain.
flood last week.
It was a flood.
6+ inches.
We had 2 inches, not last night, night before last, 4 miles south is 700s.
Yeah, that's the way it's been here.
Right around Mills's and Bobby Oxner's and up into there, 8 inches.
Really.
Yeah.
Ray was 10, weren't they?
Ray had 10.
Was that
Arcs.
just this last week?
Yeah.
Friday.
Okay, because what was it, a week or so ago up around, wasn't it around Bakelman somewhere? On the Republic, they had 10 inches?
Yeah, that's where it was, Bakerman.
It's went through our county.
Oh,
We
it
got,
did?
the rain was in our county and went to Benjamin.
Oh, okay.
Boy, them lakes downstream are certainly going to fill up.
I was going to say, that runs on down into Alma
Alma
there.
eventually.
And, you know, it's got some room. It's not like it was a couple of years ago, but.
Geez, there one time when you crossed the bridge on 183 there, you couldn't even see the water.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, it was right up
Now
to.
we're up to the
years,
bridge.
2 years ago, the water came to the edge of the pavement on the bridge, or
Oh,
on the,
darn.
I mean, we went up there just right before it flooded.
And-
But, yeah, the water was right up to.
there was a restaurant down by the dam, built on core. And anyway, it looked like it came about 5 feet high in the restaurant because, you know, you'd have table height and then they had windows. They got up high enough that the waves knocked the windows out. So. Okay, well, I'll
Is
get
that
this.
That Northwest Kansas is it economic development? Is it in the general fund?
Yeah.
Line item on it?
Yeah, it's
We're having some problems.
Northwest Kansas Planning and Development.
Yeah.
We got 3,000 in there for them.
3?
Yeah.
That's what it usually is.
Let's leave that for now.
That meeting got canceled.
Yeah, I saw that. We've got a kind of a rub with them because they actually owe on 2 properties about $19,000 in back taxes. So we're real hesitant to putting any more money in there.
And a couple of years ago, you wrote off like 28,000
Yeah.
for the same outfit.
So we're
And they said, oh, yeah, but you won't be able to get grants. Well, what they owe us in back taxes, we don't have to have grants.
well. See, the thing about that grant thing is though that's not for sure. I mean, you still have to make
That's
the
right.
application and be approved. Anyway, I think that 3,000 is appropriate.
What I'm saying is we can move it around if we don't pay them, right?
That's the thing about inside the general fund. You can move money, so if you guys make some changes between now and when you adopt it, we can move it around. And then you get into next year, if you want to increase something in the general fund and decrease somewhere else in the general fund, all you gotta do is put it in your minutes and approve it in your minutes.
And it'd be a $3,000 credit on their tax bill.
No,
What was that amount for the sheriff that we needed to?
83,000. I believe.
83,000.
Let me look here.
I wrote it down too.
Thank you.
I will get with him next week and
It
shoot
was
you
the
an
new
email.
amount for the 83,000.
Makes you wonder, I wonder if he's got his expenses for that in the budget.
Apparently not, doesn't look like it. That's the reason
Yeah.
we put
I-
in his budget exactly what he's gonna be bringing in for.
But for this year, I thought he talked to somebody. Not you, maybe Brian or somebody.
And,
I don't
You know, my thought is we're probably gonna be all right. I mean, he'll be over budget, but total in the general fund,
Right, would be.
we should be all right. If not, we can republish it in early December as unexpected or unanticipated.
Well, as always, we appreciate your hard work and
Well, thank you. Been a long, hard budget season.
yeah, I can imagine.
That's almost as busy for me as tax season is. And then when they extended the tax season to right in the middle of the budget
Yeah.
season. Okay.
Well, I think we're a little bit ahead of the game this year compared to what we've done in the past, I think.
Looks like you've been a good leader.
That's your turn, buddy.
Are you getting the information you need from the treasurer's office?
It's like pulling hair. We started getting it last week, and we're still fighting, trying to get, and we're down to, I think it was one account that wasn't totally reconciled, but it wasn't a very major one. So, yeah, but it's
A little
tough.
bit of a concern for us.
I can understand that. I guess the thing is, at least she knows what she's doing. I had one county that got a new treasurer, and he promptly fired everybody. And his first year as treasurer, of course, when you're going to collect about 62% of your taxes in December. So it came to the January distribution, and he distributed that 62%. Well, in March, you get another 18-20%. He distributed the same thing in March that he did in January.
Yikes.
And it's just lucky. He over-distributed without the county share, $3.5 million. Just lucky he didn't get overdrawn. And then they had to go back and
Some lessons are hard
and,
learned.
nobody really noticed it until the schools started doing their budgets. And why do our tax revenues a lot more than what we levied? And then they started looking and seeing what happened. And of course, you've got all kinds. I mean, like library districts, all the townships, the schools, all that. And of course, schools, they all paid it back, and some of the others did, and then some of the others, we just ended up having to take it from their next year's January district.
Take it from them instead of them giving it back, yeah. Yeah.
So things could be worse.
And we're getting towards the end of his first term, and things are getting a little better, but not a lot.
Well, Dolores chose not to run, so we definitely will have a new treasurer,
Yeah.
but that person doesn't take office until
Yeah,
Next
18
October.
months.
Yeah.
And,
18 months from election time?
well, it's.
Well, it'd be a year from election.
First October.
Is it 1st October when they
Yeah.
take over? So it wouldn't be 18 months, I guess it'd be about 16 months from now. Is that individual been in the treasurer's office and knows what's going on? Okay. Oh, that's right, yeah. She was in there,
Yeah.
yeah. And Travis told me she really was on top of things, so you'd be in good shape.
Yeah, she's sure.
Otherwise, you bring somebody in that's not been in a treasurer's office, and I think they kind of get control of their office by the end of their second term.
I don't care what it is, there's a lot of work
Oh,
in any office. It takes a while to get a,
It's really strange that you can just elect anybody. If you just, people like him, they elect him under him or whether
Without
they're
looking at
any
whether they're qualified.
qualified or not, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's what makes this country great.
I've got one county where the treasurer is, I'd say she's been in there 20-some years, if not 30. And she's got awful good help, because she's got no idea what goes on in that office. Yeah,
let's pay
As long as it
them.
gets done, I guess, huh?
but she's got good help and knows what they're doing.
Well, sometimes that's all it takes.
Probably got a pretty good sized budget then, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see you August 31st.
I usually don't come to that. but
Oh,
you-
well, you're invited. I mean,
Okay.
we'll have fresh coffee, but you don't
Okay.
have to come. I'd offer you sweets, but no one's left any forever.
This here's,
Good.
this column right here.
What's the number to the gate out there?
Need to be made.
Okay.
I'll have to look. I've got it in my pickup. I can't, it's something I can't keep in the top of my head for some reason.
How can they change it from going from the year?
Well, because everybody suspected it was the year whether there's members or not.
Oh,
So
okay.
they put that number on those membership cards. That way only members would have the card.
Okay.
And sure, they can share that number with whoever they want, but it has helped a little bit. But it is a goofy number, I will admit that. Because I have to look every time.
Well, I gotta go with bumper to bumper and I can ask Mark.
Well, I'll get it to you because I don't know that.
Wouldn't
Unless
you
he
put
has a
that like
card.
a half million
Well, they do because they've
capital
got them
outlay?
there, but I'll get you.
I put it in that line
You
that
can text
says,
it to me.
CO,
I'll just-
reserves,